Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. It's Wednesday, which means new comic books are hitting shelves all across the world. Whether or not they're digital, physical, at local comic book shops, or your favorite digital platform, new comics equals a fun day. It's like Christmas every single Wednesday. Well, Marvel has hooked us up with 3 of their trade paperbacks that are coming out this week. A kind of a wide variety of different characters, settings, and, well, history, really. Now, as I said, Marvel hooked us up. That means we get these for free, and I want to be honest and transparent about that so everyone can make their own decisions as to what they think. So, welcome to our first Marvel trade paperback review. First up, we've got Captain Marvel, Earth's Mightiest, Volume 3. This collects the 2014 series of Captain Marvel, issues 1 through 11. A whole bunch of issues by Kelly Sue DeConnick, David Lopez, Marcio, Takara, Braga, and Loughridge. So Higher, Further, Faster was basically the theme of this volume of Captain Marvel, one that really pushed the character into her own, really made her own character, I think, in many ways. It was kind of a solo adventure that pushed her in the forefront, and a forefront she hasn't really lost ever since. This was a huge thing for Marvel, a great combination of writer and series, and really helped change the settings up as to the character and how I think we thought of her, at least for me. That was kind of my take of it. Now, it's been many years since I've read this. It was, as I said, out in 2014, 11 issues, so it wrapped probably about the end of 2014, somewhere around there, maybe a little into 2015. So, here is the basic of it. That's the daring new adventure of Earth's mightiest hero, Captain Marvel. As Carol Danvers comes to a crossroads in her life, she makes a dramatic decision that will alter the course of everything. But when she heads into space, Carol lands in the middle of galactic uprising, and taking her cat with her seemed like a good idea at the time. But there's more to Chewie than meets the eye, unless you're a Rocket Raccoon. Carol's new ally and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Plus, when a bad guy she has history with tries to blackmail her and turn the Avengers against her, it's paycheck time. Captain Marvel's mightiest adventures continue as she shows off her flair of winning friends and influencing people of all species. Well, this was an interesting volume in that it took the character to space. Yeah, she's had space adventures before, but I don't really remember solo adventures doing that sort of thing. I could be wrong. Please stand and correct me if there's something I'm not remembering. But as it was a combination of Carol Danvers and writer Kelly Sue DeConnick that really sold me on this. I mean, this has been many, many years. And for, those who want to find out about Captain Marvel, maybe are into space adventures, this is actually a really good series to kind of start off with that. The art was pretty solid. I'm going to go see if I can find some good examples of what you can expect. I always liked this one. I think that was a pretty cool image for the series. Where you go with that as well. This was basically space adventures with Captain Marvel. No really other way to put it. It was fun, it was entertaining, and I liked it. This is a volume that I would recommend for people who want to get into the character, find out more about her. I mean, she does have a movie coming up, so maybe you want to get ahead of the curve and say you knew her when. This is a pretty solid deal. As I said, issues 1 through 11, it retails for $29.99. In comics, are about $3 to $4 a piece. I don't remember exactly what these were in cover, so that's like at, $30-something worth of books for $30. So you're probably saving somewhere like $6 to $10. You're getting like 2 issues free, roughly. 2 to 3 issues, depending on how much it was. So it's a pretty solid deal, and, if it's $3.99, then you're saving, like, even more. So, overall, deal-wise, you're getting it. As far as extras, there is not tons to it. In between the chapters, we get covers of the comics, which is pretty standard for trade paperbacks like this. And then in the back, we get some of the variants that were done. Kind of try not to cover up the, last page so I don't spoil things. So we get some cool variants. We'll go with some Scotty Young and Leonel Francis Yu. Some really cool art. So as I said, if you're looking for a series or trade to kind of get into Captain Marvel, this is actually a pretty good one. If you're into space adventures, well worth checking out. I recommend it. It's a solid, entertaining read. I remember reading it when it coming out in single issues and enjoying it. So to read it in like one sitting or one collection like this, it's going to be better because you're not going to have to wait, a month at a time. All right. Next up, we also have something involving Captain Marvel. little bit different. This is Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the third volume of the third volume of trades for the latest release of the series. This one collects issues 11 through 14, plus some material from Free Comic Book Day 2016. It has the talents of Brian Michael Bendis, Valerio Schiti? I think I'm pronouncing it. If I'm mispronouncing it, I'm sorry. Kevin Maguire, Jim Cheung, John Dell, Richard Isanove, and Justin Ponsor. There's also a digital comic in here, so you can go take the little thing off and go get a digital comic on top of it. So you get a whole bunch of comics in there plus digital comic. Now this is a hardcover that retails for $24.99. So it's like 4 issues or so, 5 issues with the Free Comic Book Day, or whatever you want to say. So it's a little bit more expensive than if you were to buy the issues separately. I prefer hardcovers. I just personally like them. I think they stand up a little bit better on the shelves. They hold up a little bit better. That's just kind of my personal preference more than anything. So, if you're a hardcover fan, you have to pay for it. The hardcover actually it feels good in the hands. So this volume of it takes place during the latest Marvel event, Civil War II, which just wrapped up. And it is from the Guardians of the Galaxy perspective and their involvement in it. So you do get a different take as to what's going on, or at least a different viewpoint of pretty much this big event and all the heroes fighting heroes. It's interesting, it's entertaining, it keeps up the good Guardians of the Galaxy humor. I wasn't the biggest fan of this latest volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's clearly that there was an influence of the movie to it. I really enjoyed some like the old Abnett Lanning Guardians that were out pre-movie, when it was a bit edgier, I'd have to say, a little bit darker, more kind of dealing with the big space politics and not quite as humorous. The humorous was more of a dry humor. This kind of takes more of the movie's humor, I guess you would say. Like Rocket's kind of mouthy, much more mouthy than usual. Groot says, "I am Groot" a lot. Drax now has kind of that bland personality that we saw, where he doesn't quite get things as much, which was present before, but I don't think quite as present. Gamora is a little bit colder than usual. The big difference, though, between this and the movie is Kitty Pryde is part of it, so one of the X-Men is now in space with them and is joining them, as well as the Thing. Yes, one of the members of the Fantastic Four, and this also deals with Angela, who is a long history. I'm not going to go into it as far as comic books. So if you're really into Civil War II and that storyline, this does provide a different perspective to it, a different way of looking at some things, fills in some of the blanks as to what's going on. The bigger thing of it, though, is it really sets up what's going on now currently with the Guardians of the Galaxy and what's known as the grounded storyline. Don't want to spoil things, but they're now stuck on Earth. So that means Rocket, Groot, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax are all on Earth having to deal with basically what it's like to be on Earth. Like, after going through space and enjoying things, now they are, in terrestrial space and are handling it differently for every single one. So that's kind of the big thing off of it. I mean, this was kind of the lead up to what I'll call Guardians Disassembled. So in that case, if you're a Guardians fan, you really kind of want to see the genesis of where that storyline's coming from. This is going to be a key volume. If you want to see different perspective of Civil War II, it's interesting, it's cool, it gives more insight as to how the Guardians got involved with Captain Marvel and participating in the battle as a whole. So for that, it's pretty decent. The art, for me, is a little hit and miss. Some of it's really, really great, like the... This is from the Free Comic Book Day issue. I thought that art is fantastic. That's Francis Lenu. No, that's Jim Cheung, I think, is the art on that. Yep, Jim Cheung is the art on that. So that's really good. And then we get some of this, which isn't bad, but it's just not necessarily art that I personally like. I think there's just a slight miss of details that I'm not quite there. Kind of like this is another version of it. So as I said, it's not bad. It's just not quite the style that I dig. What is cool is you do get some extras in this. The extras in this is unfinished pages. I think this is pretty standard for a lot of the hardcovers that we see with Marvel. But I like checking out. So this is Valerio Schiti, I'm guessing. I, again, apologize if I mispronounced the name, but it's a pretty cool addition. So if that's the type of stuff that you like, then check it out. But overall, I'm kind of like a bit blah on this. I'm liking the Guardians much more now that they're giving something new and interesting with the grounded storyline than I have for a little while with the Bendis run. So we'll see what comes up with the Guardians, and hopefully they kind of get back to some of the more classic takes on it. The final trade we've got is a massive one. This comes in at $39.99, but you get a hell of a lot in here. So this is Wolverine Prehistory. It said $39.99. I don't even know how many pages we're looking at. There's a lot of pages. Yeah, there's a lot. This is heavy enough that you could use as a blunt object and like beat people with it. All right, so this collects Wolverine 2003, number 32, Logan Path of the Warlord and Shadow Society, Wolverine Agent of Atlas, number 1 to 3. First X-Men, number 1 through 5, Wolverine Hunger, Wolverine from 1988, number 1. Before the Fantastic Four, Ben Grimm and Logan, number 1 through 3, Wolverine and Cable. There's material from Marvel Comics Presents, 93 to 98, Wolverine, The Amazing Immortal Man and Other Bloody Tales, and Wolverine 1000. So I said, there is a lot here. I mean, just adding up quickly, it's 4, 8, 9, 12, 17, there's like 20 issues in this, at least 21 issues, somewhere around there. So you're definitely getting your money's worth as far as page count, and that. The talent that's in there, again, is like, reads like a who's who. We've got Mark Millar, Howard Mackey, Mark Jason, Jeff Parker, Neil Adams, Christos Gage, Larry Hammond, Joe Casey, Tim Truman, David Lapham, Rick Spears, and there's even more than that. And that's just the writers. Illustrated by Kerry Andrews, John Paul Leon, Tom Coker, Benton Jew, Neil Adams, Kerry Nord, Stephen Platt, Todd Fox, Johnny Timmons, Timothy Green II, and there's even more on top of that. I have read a good chunk of what's in here. I haven't read everything that's in here, but I have to say, like, I love it. It's a solid pickup if you are looking for just kind of a pick up and read trade with Wolverine, kind of all throughout the ages. And this is what this does, is all throughout the ages. Then you really can't go wrong with this. You definitely get the bang for your money, as far as bang for the buck, as far as how many issues are versus the retail price of it. And the content in there is really, really solid. You get a long history. I mean, this was some of the stuff that I was collecting when I was a kid. Some of this Marvel Comics Presents stuff. It's from '91. So you get everything from art like that, which is pretty old school stuff. So they're over 25 years old. So we get a little bit different art style. Try to get some of the more modern. Get, again, a bit more art style. A little bit more modern. Stuff that's came out in recent years. I'm sure folks can guess as to the artist of this. And definitely very, very recent, much more recent than some of the other stuff are shown. So it really is Wolverine throughout the ages, not just the setting, but the comics themselves. I mean, this spans 20-something years, over 25 years worth of comics in one package. So if you're a Wolverine fan, or you know someone that's a Wolverine fan, as we gear up towards Logan, which is out this March, there you go. You know, this is definitely a fantastic package to go check out some classic stories, stuff you might have missed, and a nice smattering of it. Now, none of this is the vital stories. It's just fun, pick up, read. If you're into Wolverine, if you want to get into Wolverine, know someone who's a Wolverine, this is actually a pretty solid book to go get them, because it really covers a hell of a lot of Wolverine's history. So, as I said, there's 3 different volumes, 3 different comics, 3 different franchises, all kind of different periods of time. We have the recent Guardians of the Galaxy, which was out not that long ago, maybe a couple months. Captain Marvel, which was out about 3 years ago, and then this Wolverine book, which spans over 25 years worth of comics. All 3 on the shelves today at your local comic book shop. They will be in bookstores in, I think, about 2 weeks or so, the end of February, or Amazon, stuff like that. If you're interested in getting it, go down to your local comic book shop. Go support them. They all need the help. They deserve your dollars. If you're a comic book fan, go support your local comic shop. There's a link below that you can go do and go find your local comic shop. If you don't have a local comic shop near you, we do have a link as well of their affiliate links, so we do get a small percentage of that. I want to thank Marvel again for the hookup with these three. This is the first of hopefully many videos coming down the road where we can go walk through some of the trade paperback reviews. And we're going to hopefully do some more cool stuff with that on our site. Now, if you're watching this, you're into Marvel, you're into comic books, you should go check us out at graphicpolicy.com. We got reviews, interviews, previews, more every single day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So, graphicpolicy.com. If you don't want to visit a site every single day, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, here on YouTube, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics, make my Marvel, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.